What do you think?
Operate your business, and
Is
once
this
you have
the
it all
video
set
you
up, you
think
don't
I
have to
didn't
register with
watch?
the state.
No, I just
That
want to
means
know
you
what
can
you
keep
think about
your
it.
business
I
your
sent it
business.
to you.
You
That's
can
why
keep
I
it
wanted
private.
to know what you
When you
thought.
create your trust from your private capacity, you choose who's party to the contract.
It,
And if you don't put the state as a party in the contract, then they're not. That's probably music to your ears. With the trust, you have superior privacy protection and property protections. Give yourself permission to operate privately.
That didn't come out good. We'll do it again.
Most people think that you need the government's permission to run your business, but you don't. You can use a private trust to operate your business, and once you have it all set up, you don't have to register with the state. That means you can keep your business your business. You can keep it private. When you create your trust from your private capacity, you choose who's party to the contract. And if you don't put the state as a party in the contract, then they're not. That's probably music to your ears. With the trust, you have superior privacy protection and property protections. Give yourself permission to operate privately.
All right.
so I sent that to you to see how you felt about that whole thing. And is that true? The government doesn't have to know everything going on in your business if you operate from a trust? How does that even work?
I, from what I understand about trust, it's one of those things that it provides another layer of privacy protection where people can't figure out, especially if you don't name the trust after you or it's not named after something that's linked to you or whatever.
Mhm.
So when it's recorded as a public information, people can't tie it or trace it back to you. I think that's really the one of the major protections that trust provides. It also makes it such that when so that you can hand over or pass down your property down your filial generations to your children without the without it ending up in probate court. Like if you pass away, basically, if when you pass away, and if your property is not under a trust and with a clearly stated beneficiary, probate courts will come and take over your property and sell it at an auction.
Mhm.
That's the other protection that the trust provides. But I don't know about. I've never heard of anyone replacing the probate trust. I mean, sorry, replacing an LLC with a trust,
Yeah, that's.
which is what this video is sort of insinuating that you don't need to have the state involved in your business. You can just use a trust and conduct business under a trust.
I saw another video and I thought I sent it to you, where someone was explaining how the general structure of how um, you should set up your LLCs and your
I
trusts.
hardly see you in the video. You see yourself.
So, like, you have to, what?
Go ahead.
So there, I mean, that's like different LLCs and what's holding what anyway. I don't know if I sent that to you. Do you know if I did?
No, I don't know what video you're referring to.
Okay.
You can find them. Let me know.
There's one thing, but that's not what I'm talking about.
Are you able to share a screen on your end? Or share what you do? If you can, that's okay. Send me the link. I'm just wondering. I'm curious.
Yeah, it shows that I can share things. Is there something that specific that you want me to get on here on my end? Okay. Hmm. So here's one video, but this also is not the one that I was talking about. Don't know why I can't find that one, but I just sent that to you if you want to watch it. Or put it up here.
It didn't come to me like a video. More of it as a picture.
What?
Oh, wait a minute. What the system will never tell you. Never put anything in your name. Don't put your cars under your name, your house under your name, certain credit under your name. Don't own anything. My non-person trust owns my holding company. The holding company owns my LLC. Each LLC is its own entity and holds individual assets. I can show you how step by step, but you'd rather scroll away. I've heard this before, so this
Yeah.
makes more sense to me versus like.
There's someone else. I recently saw someone break it down like in like almost like a pyramid chart of like how everything should be structured. So like here's a trust and it was like within that trust you have your passive income things holding company and then you have your active income holding company and under that is where you have different LLCs. So each property has its own LLC and your passive income. And then each whatever little business venture that you have in your active income has its own LLC as well. So it's just sort of like this whole pyramid thing. And I'm trying to find that video because it was really good the way that they did it. It was really helpful.
I remember this. This was on national news. It happened recently.
What is it?
You're watching it.
I can barely see it. It's like microscopic.
How do we make it big?
Mm. So what's happening in this?
An accident. The truck was dangling off the bridge. She had to come to be rescued.
Wow. Jeez.
It's too far.
How many times are we gonna watch this?
I'm trying to find a different.
Mm. I need that.
That seems really hot.
Mm-hmm. He made the girls mad.
It's rare that the female do that.
They had it. I don't know. What is happening? No, that's the wrong thing. I'm gonna hit you with the crate. Not if I tackle you first. Would you do that?
Hell no.
You're just free falling. Like a flying squirrel.
I never even imagined buying a telescope.
Really? I've never been interested, but maybe now.
Yeah, some of these videos are so.
Really? Why is this? My goodness. I mean, I guess whatever floats your boat.
All right, I'm gonna find something more serious that we can watch.
Here's this one account. I can send it to you. I find their content helpful if you're interested. Want some of their stuff.
But I won't listen to the whole thing. Let's see, what's the song with the name?
Mhm. Did it tell you in the video?
she's gonna talk about.
Ooh, that looks interesting.
One acre in Georgetown, is that what that said?
Yeah, it's waterfront. Georgetown is the whole city, or it's one of them.
How far is Georgetown from Columbia?
I don't know. I think it's probably like a couple hours away. What did you get?
Wait, I put the wrong one. It's 2 hours, 33 minutes. It's quite far.
Quite far. But it's not that bad.
2.5 hours.
Here are 10 things you need to know to get more Airbnb bookings in 2024. Welcome back, guys. This is one of 8 top 10 videos that I have planned so far. Do you like them? Let me know in the comments. They keep me on track. Otherwise, you know, I get a little tangential. And quickly, let's get into it. Number 1 is to put calls to action into your marketing copy. What do I mean? Your listing is a marketing page. It's got some photos, it's got some text, it's got prices, it's got reviews. It tries to get the customer to take that final step, which is click reserve. But let's slow this down. When somebody clicks on your Airbnb listing, they don't go straight to book, do they? They look around. 6 out of 10 guests look at the photos first, which means if you're going to put a call to action, which is an invite to do something, in text anywhere, you should add it to the captions of your photos. For example, here's a slick one that'll hopefully earn your like button press. If you have a pool, write in the caption, "We try to keep this pool open all year. Send us a message for our pool schedule." The reason why this matters is Airbnb's algorithm tracks interest, and part of their interest algorithm is they track engagements, wish lists too, yes, but when they send you a message, that counts as an engagement. So a view is good, a wish list is good, a message is good. Even if you don't get bookings from any of that, that drives you up in the Airbnb rank, which means you're more likely to get more views and more likely to get more bookings. Calls to action can go anywhere. They can be invites to message or invites to book or to check certain dates for discounts like an Easter egg hunt. There's tons of stuff that you guys can do. Have fun with it. Number 2 is you need to research and then add underserviced amenities. This is like a business best practice, guys. Underserviced markets is like a buzzword in business. You want to find an industry where not enough customers are getting their needs met. And for example, Airbnb was exactly that for large groups. Large groups don't want to stay in 4 hotel rooms if they could all stay together in a house. Airbnb was able to service an invisible underserviced market that Brian Chesky had no clue he was about to service. Remember, he wanted to do air mattresses in living rooms. 16 people are not going to book your living room unless it's a really nice living room. And did you know you can find underserviced amenities for free on Airbnb? Search like you're a traveler and use the filters section to find out how many listings have each amenity. And bonus, the top 6 are always the most popular amenities in any area that you search. So even if they're not underserviced, they're still popular and people want them. If you want to learn my market research techniques for finding underserviced amenities, I've got this webinar called Gap Market Research. Take that webinar, it is absolutely worth it. Number 3 is you need to take better photos. You need to know how to take some photos, my friends. And if you don't know how to take photos, here's your big tip for this. Do not hire a real estate photographer. You want someone who's more of a product marketer or a social media marketer, because your photos are getting someone to click for a very different reason than a real estate transaction would. You see, a real estate buyer has their own furniture. They've got a family. They're going to build a home. You want them to imagine their stuff in your home if you're going to sell your house. In this case, people are just bringing their luggage. You want them to imagine sitting on your couch. It's a different angle. I've got lots of videos on this one actually, but watch my video on eye candy for more on that. And number 4 is you need to revisit your pricing strategy, your dynamic one. There's 2 types of pricing strategies. Do you even have one pricing strategy? I'm just gonna ask, do you have one? If you don't, hi, my name's Sean. That's the thing I like to talk about most on this YouTube channel. I have a whole free playlist on pricing strategy. But number 4 is dynamic pricing strategy. Prices go up, prices go down based on lead time, supply and demand, seasonality, things like adjacency, which is something that I made up and made Wheelhouse put into their software. Thank you, Wheelhouse. It's like an open-ended orphan day, if I'm going to shortly explain adjacencies. Markets have changed. The landscape has changed. Your dynamic pricing strategy cannot be a set it and forget it thing. And because of how volatile markets have been, Wheelhouse and Price Labs cannot be trusted to do it alone. I'm sorry to tell you that it's not enough. Have you ever used a pricing software and then had a run of empty days anyway? It happens. I tell my students, if your pricing software fails to get you bookings all within 3 weeks in advance, if you're not 100% booked more than 3 weeks out, then they have failed you. In most cases. Some listings don't get bookings that far in advance, but in most cases, that's the case. And you need to consider, are there more hosts in my market? Are there better hosts in my market? Where am I on that ladder of good and bad hosts? How strong is our strong season? How weak is our weak season compared to previous ones as well? You have to put this all into your brain and then use your intuition, a little bit of magic, to choose what the right prices are. Especially if you've been trusting pricing software, you're going to have to override those prices sometimes because they're just wrong. I'm sorry to tell you, but they're wrong. Number 5, I said I get tangential, don't I? Yeah, and I just did. Number 5 is to research your market and your competition. I was starting to bleed into that in number 4. Did you catch that? Because if you're better than your competition, your prices can stay higher. If you're worse than your competition, your prices need to come down. If you're headed into slow season, you want to be the first person booked. If you're headed into peak season, you can be the last one booked. It's all good, but you need to know when those are. You need to know when your events are so you can raise your prices for events and you don't get caught up in the same situation that the Taylor Swift host thing where they tried to triple their rate happened. You don't get caught in situations like that because you already adjusted your prices because you knew better. Pro tip, if you're in an event market like Austin, Texas, or anywhere like that, then don't sit your prices available a whole year out. Make it like 8 months out and let a pricing software aggregate those prices before your calendar opens up. Protect that range because if events are announced a year in advance and people start to book it like it's super popular.
So which one is it? Should you use the pricing software or should you not? I know a popular one is AirDNA, and I've heard him say a few times that AirDNA doesn't work well.
What I think he's saying is that like use it as like your base sort of, but you have to do the work or hire someone to do the work where you find out what events are happening in the area and what usually drives up the market so that you can, for those times, you can change your prices already. You can adjust everything for those moments, but you can adjust ahead of time. But maybe just for everyday use, you might want to use the softwares, I guess.
Pricing softwares will note that and they'll raise your prices before the date's available. You'll instantly make more money. That is a magic money tip. Hit the subscribe button for that one. Number 6 is new and sneaky. Charge less on the front and find a way to get it on the back end. And a lot of times we do this through retailing, through selling late checkouts and early check-ins. We've got these movie night packs that we sell to guests. Find ways to upcharge your guests for fancy bottles of water, cheese boards, auxiliary rentals like scooters or bikes or motorcycles or cars. Not motorcycles, that's probably dangerous. If your price is too high, you risk not getting a booking at all. And if you have to drop your rate in the slower seasons to get bookings, you can make them money on the back end by selling them some extra stuff, which means this can be a core part of your competitive strategy where you can be more brave dropping your rates because you know that you make about $7 per day per property in add-ons, fancy waters, late checkouts, extra cleaning services, things that you sell through HostCo, anything like that. Number 7 is you need to revisit your pricing strategy for a new one that you've never heard about. It's my first time telling you this. You need a consumer-centric pricing strategy that plans for multiple consumers, multiple outcomes. And you do this through length of stay discounts. Most of you, no offense, use a 3-day minimum stay instead. Like, I don't want 1 day or 2 day stays, so I'm just gonna only allow 3. This hurts you twice. You get shown less in search, which is bad for your SEO. And if you're in a market where people will pay a king's ransom for 1 and 2 day stays, you might as well collect all that money. If you can make 25% more per night for 2 days than you do for 3 days, why not take 2 day stays the whole month? Your revenue would go up 25%. I have a revenue strategy for monthly stays. I've got a revenue strategy for weekly stays. I've got a revenue strategy for weekday workers that work through the weekend, and then I've got my very short-term stay strategies. In some of my markets, I'm actively trying to get 4 different types of customers at the same time for the most amount of money that any of those 4 will pay me. And that allows me to make the most money any time of the year because I've planned ahead for all 4. That is not something I teach for free, by the way. I'm just gonna say that, so I'll see you inside of Cracking Super Roast. Should I do this for 8 or should I do this for 8? 4-4 or 5-3? It's a roll of the dice. I can't really do 6-2. Fingers don't work that way. But number 8 is to split test. I hope I just raised an eyebrow there. Split testing should be new to you. That's okay if it's new to you. And even if you only have a couple of listings or 1, you can still split test. For example, you can split test your hero photo and every 2 days, switch the photo between one and the other. And you'll have to journal this out if you only have 1 listing and find out when you're getting the most messages. What hero photo is showing when you got a message. And you can start to tally number of messages per hero photo. And over the course of a couple weeks, you'll find out which one is better. That's a version of split testing with 1 listing. You can also ask them to message you about a certain thing. So when you add calls to action in your copy, in certain sections of your copy, you can have a call to action for the same reason, but to phrase it differently. For example, in the photos, you ask them to ask about your pool schedule. In your description, ask them to ask you what hour the pool closes. They will often repeat what you said when you instruct them to ask a question. Hey, I'm just inquiring about your pool schedule. Or, hey, what are your pool hours? Schedule and hours were the keywords there, so you find out, are calls to action working more in the body or are calls to action more working in the photos. This is just a couple of examples. And if you have a lot of listings, you can split test listings side by side. You can have some with cleaning fees, you can have some with none, you can have some with management fees. You could have 3 very slightly different pricing strategies and then go back to see what the average nightly rate for those listings were on the back end and then move forward with whichever one is best. I'm honestly maybe a year and a half new to split testing stuff. This is something that I did not do when I was new. Didn't think about it, not until after COVID. And now finally, I'm playing with things like this and I'm learning a lot of stuff and it's really cool. But when I teach my Cracking Superhost students, I tend that I kind of fumble through the data because it is still so new to me. So if I ever make a video on split testing, it will be heinously long because I just won't know what words to choose. But that's part of my charm, of course. Number 9 is you need to go multi-channel. If you want to get more bookings, you've got to distribute more places. We are starting to see that Airbnb's reputation will govern whether or not guests are using it. I've seen Vrbo come and give me 50% of my bookings at times, where Airbnb is normally roughly responsible for 85%. Plus in my apartments, Vrbo has come up and taken 1 out of 2 sometimes. And a lot of this is whether or not Vrbo is running ads or whether or not Airbnb's recently got tagged for some bad stuff, but you do not want to get caught in the crossfire of that. If Airbnb is having a bad week, you do not deserve to have a bad week with them. So get on Vrbo. And if you're on coastal spots like San Francisco or Tampa or Miami or New York, maybe even Chicago, then get on Booking.com. If you have a lot of Eastern European and Asian international travelers, you're going to get out of Booking.com. If you have apartments, get on Hopper too. Get on Google Hotels by having your own direct booking platform. And that's number 10 is you need to build a back end to go direct with your bookings. This is not something that you just magically turn on and boom, you're ready. So as far as Google Hotels go, you can do it through Booking.com. Or you can do it through TripAdvisor. You can do it through your channel manager. That'll happen, and that's going to get you there initially, but you also need to build out a way to collect emails. You need to build out a way to retarget with those emails. You have to consider an email campaign. You need to think about what your brand is going to be. What are you going to say in an email? Hey guy, thank you so much for staying in my Airbnb. Are you cool with staying off Airbnb next time? That's not going to cut it. You need to start composing copywriting in an email that is brand centric. Something that says, hey, we are a magical organization with or without Airbnb. You're going to love it here. And sign up for other companies' email lists. Sign up for Vrbo's email list. Sign up for Marriott Homes and Villas. Sign up for Sonder. Even though you probably don't want to send emails like Sonder does, it's a little too corporate. You want something that's boutique and your own, and you're going to get there. It's going to take time, but you can get there. That's it, guys. It's past my bedtime. If you want to see the top 10 things that you need inside of your Airbnb.
So it looks like so far all what I got from that video is to add calls to action in the photo captions, research and add under serviced amenities, like things that are in high demand but are not widely available in the area. You can use Airbnb search filters to see which amenities are popular and which ones are underrepresented. And then you want to feature them on your, like if we have them, we want to feature them. Take better photos, split test the photos.
Okay.
Basically, you want to hire a photographer who specializes on product marketing or social media rather than real estate. And I've had that experience with real estate agents taking photos. They don't even try.
When they did the house that we just sold in Beaumont, that was awful. The second guy, his photos were terrible.
Yeah.
It looked like it was just.
And in the hero photo matters. It seems like you want to play around with the photos. I notice a lot of time when you're scrolling or browsing through Airbnb, what catches my eyes is what stands out about that area. Let's say, for instance, there's a waterfront. They highlight the waterfront. If the property has a jacuzzi,
does it need to be on the
jacuzzi.
property or like in the area, as in like over in Pensacola, have a nice photo of Pensacola Beach, like that sign?
Yes, that sign, that whole
Because it's
beach.
close to the area.
That's important. Implement a dynamic pricing strategy. So you want to adjust your rates on factors like lead time, supply and demand, and seasonality, and be prepared to override pricing software like AirDNA or any one of the other ones. And the point is to stay competitive. if there's high demand, you don't want to keep charging the same amount.
Mm-hmm.
But this requires a lot of hands-on to see, scour through Airbnb and see what the pricing is, average pricing, and adjust accordingly. You want to charge less upfront and then upsell. The initial rates are better off low to attract the clicks, and then you find ways to upsell additional services or amenities like late checkouts or early check-ins, even special packages like movie nights.
Okay.
So you also want to adopt a consumer-centric pricing strategy, which adjusts based on length of stay. And if they increase their length of stay, you can give them discounts. And some travelers, like weekend travelers or weekly workers, or even ones that stay long term, can adjust the pricing based on that.
Yeah.
Also want to list on multiple channels: Airbnb, Booking.com, Vrbo, Google Hotels. We also identified the importance of creating our own private website and direct traffic there. Even the ones that have stayed that came from Airbnb and Booking, we probably want to have a guest booking there collecting emails or offer them discounts if they exchange emails with us.
You're talking about like having like a cute little actual notebook there where it collects emails,
Yeah, or even a tablet.
a tablet there.
A tablet that says we just want something that's showing discount, that's playing a discount coupon. Scan this coupon and then it links them to our website where they'll click on it. It'll give them a form to fill out their name, email, and whatever information.
Okay.
And that way we can market to them again. Because we're losing these leads. Each person that stays with us, we don't get any information from them.
But are
It's
you
lost.
saying that we physically have to have like a physical book there?
How else would you
this?
collect their emails?
Okay.
I'm saying even if it's not a book, we can automate it and put a tablet on the wall that's plugged in all the time where they can enter their email. Unless there's a different way to do it.
Okay.
Build a direct booking platform. Develop a system to collect guest emails and retarget them for direct bookings. You want to create a brand-centric email campaign to encourage repeat bookings outside of Airbnb. That makes a lot of sense.
Mhm.
Let's see what else we can find here.
Here are 10 items every Airbnb needs. No matter who you are on the planet, if your Airbnb doesn't have this stuff, you just won't make as much. As a host with over 25,000 stays, I can tell you exactly what a guest wants, what they don't care about, what you can save money on, but what you need to spend big on. All 10 of these matter. Do not miss a second of this video. Number 1, and this one is more important than ever before because Airbnb updated their search UI to accommodate this one item. It's long overdue, and that is a king bed. If you go to search on Airbnb and go to filters and scroll down under features along where they have things like smoking allowed, you now can checkbox for a king bed. This has never been done before until finally.
If you think about it, like anytime I look on Airbnb, I'm looking for king bed.
That's funny. That's the most rarest thing. Everyone has, it's like there's always a queen. That's usually expected, but it's very rare that there's a king.
It's rare, but when it is, it's more. Basically, this is not for us. So you have to think about it from the customer-centric
Mhm.
portion. A lot of people are fat and they like more space.
Okay.
2023. For 6 years, I taught all of my students to write it in the title because there was nowhere else to flex that you have a king bed. I did a different video on how to update your listing for this. Watch that video later. But let's get into the other 9. Number 2 has a couple ways to get this done, but you need a good light source and a good mirror. I recommend an easel mirror, one that can get moved around next to a big window, but you also want big, cold light. You can have a clip-on ring light that goes onto the mirror. You need somewhere where a woman can sit on the floor or sit on the chair and do her makeup. This is 100% a do not miss. And that means if your bathroom does not have good lighting, you should fix that too. Along with a good big mobile mirror, have one of the handheld flip ones too that go 5x.
For us, like, what's a flex for this listing? And the best thing that I can think of is the fact that we have the bunk beds and then the sofa couch. Or the sofa bed. Like the 3 additional beds in addition to the master bedroom. But like we have all these.
Are you talking about things to highlight?
Yeah, like what would ours be?
Well, we're watching the video here. The first item, this is top 10 amenities you want to have. And the first item that he mentioned is a mirror with lighting for makeup.
Okay.
So I would think that we don't have plenty of lighting in the mirror in the bathroom. That might be something we want to improve, to buy a mirror, lighting for mirror.
Okay.
The mirror in the restroom. That's also very annoying to use. You used it, you didn't like it. What was your experience like?
For me, I'm just in and out. So, the best place to do makeup is the bathroom. That's the place that gets the most lighting because we have this lighting from the sun that's coming in. Plus, you can just turn on the light.
Yeah.
So everywhere else in the RV seems to be pretty dark unless you actually open everything up.
There's nowhere else to put a mirror there in the RV and as itself.
I think it would be like if you really want to cover that box, you would need to get on Amazon and buy like one of those makeup mirrors that has like that extra lighting, battery operated, or maybe something you can plug in.
I'm thinking more of a stand-up mirror that can be placed somewhere in the main cabin area, where maybe like on one of the walls along maybe the wall by the door, put a mirror there.
Which door? Bathroom door or bedroom door?
The exit door, the main exit door.
That's like not even a proper door. That's a special kind of door. I don't think that would hold a mirror.
Well, let's see what else he suggests here.
Love that as well. Number 3 isn't just one product. It's a whole thing, and it's your coffee station. All of you have coffee, but you're not doing it right. I want you to memorize something, and it rhymes. Makes it easy to remember. 1 out of 3, decaf or tea. Say it with me, 1 out of 3, decaf or tea. What that means is 1 out of every 3 Airbnb travelers prefers to drink decaf coffee or tea. Regular is not good enough. And in order to build out a great coffee station without breaking the bank, what I like to do is buy wide mouth mason jars, put labels on the top, and I'll have a cup for coffee, cup for decaf, cup for creamer, cup for sugar, and one that holds tea packets as well. I've got a station of those and a Tupperware container for the coffee filters. Then I have the coffee machine and an electric water kettle. And then maybe a little flour. And if you don't have a lot of counter space, put it on a tray that can get moved around so somebody can unplug it, pick it up, move it somewhere else, and they can get to cooking. Speaking of, that brings us to number 4. Remember this always. The one thing that you have that a hotel will never have is a fully stocked kitchen. I don't care how expensive that hotel room is. They might give you a kitchenette with a little fridge and 2 burners, maybe 2 burners and an oven, but I've never seen, in my history of staying at hotels, I've never seen one that gives you great pots and pans, cutting board, strainer, can opener, wine opener, and all the fixings, everything you could ever want, including like a cheese board. And with a 4-burner stove and a double oven and a microwave and a full-size fridge, they just don't give you that. The reason why is hotels have banked on the fact that most of their guests are transient. They're not from here, they're gonna go eat at restaurants. One of the cool things about traveling is food tourism, but Airbnbs, because of all that square footage, naturally give you this competitive advantage, which means you get a different customer than hotels get. Airbnbs always will. And bringing the heat in the kitchen is one way to guarantee that you get families that book, people that will respect your home because they value your home for what it provides. There will come a day when your Airbnb is not booked, but it gets booked because you showed great photos of your kitchen. And there's another Airbnb down the street with better design, but they did not communicate in the photos well enough that they have a family-ready kitchen. Here's another phrase for you that rhymes, so you'll remember this. If you don't show it, the guest won't know it. Thank you, TJ, for that one. I heard him say that in a clubhouse once. If you don't show it, the guest won't know it, which means everything that you have that's amazing about your Airbnb needs to go in the photos. 5, you need an angle. Yeah. Can you buy an angle? Yes, you can.
Refusing to pause.
Yeah. I think we need to have a picture of some of the. I think people just automatically assume that there's nothing in the kitchen. Because I have had questions about that, and I keep going, "No, there's coffee. Did you not read the listing? Because it's listed in there in our amenities. Like it, we've checked all those boxes, but I'm guessing people are just like they're not checking for that." And they have to just ask me directly if there's pots and pans or if there's coffee, if there's this or that. So I'm guessing they need to be able to see the photo, and that would explain to them that they will have everything.
You need to put it on a tray so it can be moved around.
It's in the cabinet.
It needs to be
You just
visible.
open the cabinet and it's all right there. I don't think we need to be putting it outside though.
That's what I'm saying. If you put it on the stove, on a tray, so it can be removed. If they need to cook, they can move it out. Or if you take a picture of it, that'll do.
I think taking a picture and letting people know where it is the best bet, because the tray thing works. I think if you actually have a larger kitchen, so it can sit on a counter, on a tray, and that can be moved when you need additional space. But in an RV, we don't even have space for the coffee maker to even sit on the counter. So it's already up on a shelf. I don't think that we can do exactly what he says, but we can, we can adjust to it.
By an angle, here's what I mean. An angle is an underserviced amenity. You can either be ADA accessible, disabled parking space, no ramp up to the front door, no step in the front door, 36-inch wide doorways, things like that. That is a level 1 ADA. Room to get around the bed. This is something that increases your searchability by 400% in most cities. If you can't do that, have a gym or an EV charger. You want something that makes you more searchable than everybody else. That is your angle. Number 6, you need one of these 3, depending on your size. A supplies bin, a supplies closet, or a supplies unit. For apartments, studios, places with not a lot of square footage, there's these little bins you can buy for $30 or $40 that have little holes where you can lock them with luggage locks. I did a video on that years ago. We still use those to this day in combination with units, like storage units. If you have houses where you can have a maid closet with a keyless entry on the door, that works too. Both of those become your localized storage solution for restocking things. Remember that coffee station we talked about? You're gonna have a larger supply of coffee in the closet or in the bin. You're gonna have extra sheets, extra towels, all the backup stuff, spare batteries for the TV. In a storage unit, if you have enough units like we do, you'll have spare TVs in case one gets broken or stolen. You need a supply solution. And in a studio apartment, you don't need 6 sets of sheets and 20 towels. A little bin can hold 4 towels and 1 king-size set of sheets. It can have your turn in a box. Yes, it's basically a turnover in a box. You can even have cleaning supplies in there if you'd like to. Whenever they get their paycheck, we restock their cleaning caddy. We pay our housekeepers by the hour every week. We have a video on that as well. If you're ever curious about our cleaning system, you can use that too. But that bin can have...
That's interesting. Did you catch that? Paying them hourly by the week. That way they're on a more consistent schedule versus, you know, calling them for when you need them.
But I don't, would that work with what we have since we only have one listing? Or do we need to have like several in the same area? So that you can just basically hire someone part-time and give them set hours.
Yeah.
And be like, or something like that. I think he can easily do that, but
He has multiple listings.
yeah, for us, it might not be feasible yet. Maybe. Unless there's a way you can do it, I'm not sure.
have a little bit of extra cleaning supplies just in case. And that brings number 7. A lot of hosts, they slouch on this. You should supply cleaning supplies. For some reason, hosts don't like leaving much of those because guests will overuse them or steal them. And that is the thing. Yes, we can confess, guests take stuff. If you give them a full bottle of something really nice, they'll take it. So be careful. We have started putting all our shampoos and conditioners and body washes in smaller pump containers, so that way we don't give them a 32-ounce full. Right? We have solutions for this as we've gotten bigger. And now the same thing happens with the branded Clorox or branded Windex. They'll take those. But we've noticed if you buy from Home Depot those clear label-less bottles and put cleaning in there and say Windex written on it or Clorox bathroom cleaner written on it, they maybe don't believe you that it's a brand name or they don't care. And so if you don't want this stuff getting stolen, just take the labels off or buy the clear bottles. This really helps your cleaners when they arrive. Some guests will clean if you don't make it a pain in the butt. They'll do their own dishes. They'll wipe down the counters. They will be super nice. Now, since we pay by the hour, that leads to a faster clean and a lower cost turnover for us. It just makes perfect sense.
I like that advice. Like leaving cleaning supplies. And that's visible. Towels, so that they can clean up after themselves. Trash bags, dustpan. Then, you know, making it very easy for them to clean up after themselves. And leave us a sign that says, "Be nice, clean up after yourself." I don't know.
Guilt them into it.
Yeah, guilt them into it. I've seen those signs before in Airbnbs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they'll tell you to clean up after yourself.
Yeah, usually in the instructions they always say you're expected to leave it the way
You found it.
found it, you know. So it was clean, you better leave it clean.
I know.
Or we're going to charge you. But then people are always like, well, you charged me a cleaning fee, so what does that pay for?
I think you're speaking to the better angels of the guests, because if we're charging you a cleaning fee, but that's because we still have to clean it regardless of how much you clean it. We still have to do a turnover and we have to pay the cleaning staff that comes to the cleaning. But if you clean it for us, it makes it easier, makes the process smoother. What we can do is offer a discount on the next day if they clean up after themselves. That's fun.
Clean up.
Number 8, you need extras of everything. For example, parking passes. We have apartments where people need to park in a specific spot, and if they don't show a parking pass, they would get towed. Happens. So we print off these laminated parking passes that they use. Normally, these apartment complexes want people to use a decal, but we have to negotiate to change that. We are allowed to use a laminated card. And when somebody loses that laminated card, takes it with them, leaves it in their enterprise rental car, we have some in that same bin I told you about. We have extra parking passes in that bin locked away. So that way we can just pull another one and the next guest doesn't have a snafu. That's an extra. You need extra batteries for TV. Like I said, if you have enough units, you need an extra TV. You need extra sheets, extra towels, extra cleaning supplies. You'll need extra plates, cups, bowls, wine glasses. When things break, you need to be able to pull them fast and get them to a guest. This level of prevention alone will save your housekeepers from pulling out their hair and quitting on you one day, because you won't make them go to Walmart and Target and at home to buy all these little things in their cleaning. This level of control will matter. And number 9 seems obvious until you've stayed in a few Airbnbs. We've talked about the king bed, but we didn't talk about quality. One of the biggest complaints that people have about their Airbnbs is that the host slouched on the bed and the pillows. A cheap bed and cheap pillows make a terrible night's sleep, and it's the fastest way to not get a 5-star review. I do not care how beautiful your Airbnb is. If you make a guest sleep on a bad pillow, you will not get a 5-star review. Hands down, 100% of the time you will not get it, because you didn't spend an extra $10 and they know it. That is where they will hit you on your reviews. And the other applies. If your Airbnb is a little basic, because you're a price leader per se, you didn't do so good with your design, people can forgive that you're not good at design. They expect you to be an Airbnb host, not somebody from Better Homes and Gardens. They will forgive lackluster design. If your bed is comfy, your sheets are nice, your pillows are nice, it's a good night's sleep, they will let it slide, because at the literal end of the day, they are there to sleep, and you don't want to mess with that. And number 10, we are skipping over all the basic stuff that a lot of you smarties want to say. Sure, there's a couch. Sure, there's a TV. Sure, there's a dinner table. Sure, there's patio furniture. Sure, there's a rug on the floor. There's plants. Duh. Okay, cool. There's artwork. Yes. Number 10, you need a suite of technologies to run your property the right way. You need keyless entry, one that you can at least change the codes from an app on your phone, or even better yet, have it run through a software, like a channel manager when you get big enough. I have a favorite door lock that I did a video on back when we first launched in Austin. They've since dropped the price of their technology like $40. I will leave you a link in the description or comments somewhere for that door handle. The app is lovely, it's easy. You also need something to monitor noise, smoking, etc. Because if a guest throws a party, you need to know about it. If a guest is smoking, you need a way to prove it. Because without the proper technology, you would have to find a cigarette butt or ashes to get paid Airbnb's smoking fee. And if a guest says that the place smells like smoke, you can prove that it wasn't your fault if there is no smoke detected from your smoke detector thing. There are two. You can use Minute or you can use Wind. Either one works. They both do noise and smoke detection now. And the underdog in the case, this will matter if you go direct one day, which we'll talk about plenty in the future. You need a way to capture emails from your guests. I recommend something called StayFi. When a guest tries to access your Wi-Fi, instead of getting your router modem thing, they'll get this StayFi device. And it acts like a middleman where somebody has to put in their email first to get access to the internet. That way that goes in a database. You can retarget them later, invite them to stay one more time, use their email in a list like a lookup table, helps you to run more cost competitive ads, stuff like that. And with those 10 out of the way, I recommend the next video you watch is my old video on the kitchen. It's a wonderful video because I think out of these 10, the kitchen may be one of the very most important ones. Let me know how you like this video in the comments. I publish a couple videos a week, all aimed at helping you run the best Airbnb business that you can. So yes, hit that bell so you don't miss a single.
What do you think?
Well, that smoke detector / noise detector sounds like a good idea. And I think that remember when we stayed in New Orleans, I think that's what they had. Because they put it in the description. They said that there's a noise detector or something to check the volume of us. And I remember we were making fun of that. Because we were like, next door is extremely loud and we're hearing that, and
Right.
you're worried about us
Making noise.
making a ton of noise.
But I also wonder, what is a noise detector? Isn't that a microphone? So are they listening to our conversations?
I think it's just checking the volume, because like he said, it's controlled by the app that we have. So we would be able to see like the level, the volume that was going on, like whatever data it collected, plus if there was smoke detected inside the RV. And if we have that data and we get a positive whatever, then we can send it to Airbnb and be like, this is what our guest did. And then I think Airbnb would be like, oh yeah, you're right. Okay, we can take their money then. Penalize them.
Yeah.
You know. But without that data, you can't really say anything because, I mean, even finding a cigarette butt, anyone can get a cigarette butt. You can grab one from the ground outside and then just lay it there and take a photo.
All right, let's see what else we can find here.
Yeah, I mean, if that's a concern, or maybe we just wait until we realize it's an actual policy.